It's not about personality matrixels and charts. It's all about the bumps in your heart.
Hi and welcome. I'm Owen. We will be focusing on primary schooling in East Asia, North America, and Sub-Saharan Africa. Even though an education is important to have, the qualities and values vary greatly across the world. For example, physical education is a major part of school in America. Agriculture is important in Sub-Saharan Africa and East Asia, but you wouldn't see one of these fields there. Our three speakers, Sammy, Carson, and will give us a true picture of the advantages and disadvantages of schooling across the world. We will take a closer look into the problems faced there and how we think we can solve them.
It's 8 o'clock, the start of a typical school day at West University Elementary School in Houston, Texas. West University is a perfect example of a public school, the main form of education in the US and Canada. Here are some pictures of what it looks like inside of one of these schools. One can tell from looking at the outside of Westview that the US and Canada spend huge sums of money on their public schools. In fact, in 2013, the total in the US amounted to $10,959 per student. That's crazy! Contrary to what many believe, the federal government actually has a very limited role in education. The state and provincial governments are responsible for maintaining and operating schools. Because of this, there's lots of variety in the quality of education in this region. While you're digesting that information, let's talk about the pros of education in this region. I have two words for you: accessibility and affordability. Everyone, even students in remote locations, can attend school because of the low cost and widespread availability of schools in the region. That being said, there are also some key negatives to schools in the US and Canada. It's ironic that in a region with so much educational diversity, the curriculum is uniform and ignores the differences in each student's learning style. The main culprit for this is the Common Core State Standards Initiative. The other issues with achievement. As far as report cards go, the schools in this region would get like a C. Students are not being adequately prepared to compete in the global economy. We have standardized tests to blame for this problem. US and Canadian students are either unsuccessful because they only learn how to bubble in answers on the Scantron, or they're penalized for learning useful things instead of how to take tests. Common Core ignores the uniqueness of individual students, prohibiting them from reaching their full potential. So how would you rate the schools in the US and Canada on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would give them a 7 or something because, like, sure, it's flawed. The education system is really flawed, and it cuts a lot of people out from what they can be as people. But it's good quality education, which should be thankful for that.
All right, I have a question for you. Who was recently nominated Secretary of Education under President Donald Trump? If you answered Betsy DeVos, you're correct. DeVos is a big supporter of private religious schools, which may weaken public education. She also supports a voucher system that will allow students to go to the schools they want. However, the vouchers will also divert students and federal resources away from the schools that need them the most. Anyway, that's a wrap from Houston. Now over to Sub-Saharan Africa, where our correspondent awaits.
It's 4 o'clock Houston time, but in Dar es Salaam, school is just starting. Schooling in Sub-Saharan Africa varies greatly due to there being almost 50 countries in the region. Many countries have different regulations regarding education, but in Tanzania, school starts at around 7 or 8 a.m. Here are some pictures of what a typical school looks like in Sub-Saharan Africa. As you can see, the many governments in this region do not spend enough money on their educational programs. Facilities lack many supplies and not much actual learning gets done. This region has many other issues. Many teachers do not receive enough formal education, which results in them not being able to teach current students. Just imagine a high schooler having to teach an entire class. Furthermore, poverty terrorizes sub-Saharan African citizens, which results in a large dropout rate among its students. Just look at this graph! The high rate of students out of school is due to many children having to help out their parents at home with demanding chores. In addition, many government-run secondary schools cost their students money that they don't have. But rest assured, there are benefits to sub-Saharan African education. Many feeding programs are present at their schools, and some public schools cost their students very little money. Unfortunately, there are many negative impacts of sub-Saharan African schools. One main consequence is that 7 of the most top 10 illiterate countries are found in sub-Saharan Africa. Also, there are many uneducated mothers found in the region, who all lack a knowledge of how to properly take care of their children. These women do not have many options in life besides having children and taking care of chores around the house. Luckily, some recent events have taken place in sub-Saharan Africa that may be able to help relieve its problems in education. One of these is that the World Bank announced on March 19, 2017, that it would donate $57 billion to the region, prioritizing education. This could potentially help start a great change of movement in education in sub-Saharan Africa. Also, the KISA project by Africaid in Tanzania works to help encourage girls to work towards their dreams and make a difference in the community. Since only 26% of girls in Tanzania attend secondary school, the KISA project is a great motivator for girls to attend school and overcome prejudices against themselves. Finally, to conclude our day of school, we report on East Asia. Jin, over to you.
Now that school's finally done in South Africa, it's around 10 p.m. in Houston, but in Korea and like other East Asian countries, it's like noontime and kids are almost halfway through their really long day. Come on! As most of y'all may know, school lasts to about like 7 to 9 hours with a couple of extracurriculars. However, in East Asian schools, it's not really the same. School is never really over in this region. After school, kids are usually attending tutoring and countless other out-of-school academic classes until midnight. This is due to the mindset of wanting to strive academically set by the competitive environment found in education systems in East Asia. As you can see, everyday lives of these children are very packed. However, the results are perfect test scores and elite students. East Asia's education system makes top-of-the-line students, but at the same time, there's a handful of kids that fall behind during school. At this point, kids have either given up or sadly taken their lives. This competitive environment has created the highest rate of teen suicide in the world. I personally have attended school in Korea, and let me tell you, that one semester that I had was miserable. From the yelling to piles of homework and even spanking, it started to like demoralize you, you know? And it felt like prison. There are many negatives to this situation. However, the positive results are Ivy League ready students, doctors, and very successful adults. Overall, East Asia's education system is very providing. However, it has a lot to touch up on. That's a wrap. Back to Houston for the conclusion of this program.
It's great to see everyone here together again. After all your research, what should be done to conquer these future issues?
Alright, so one solution being considered is the use of new technology to create a more personalized learning experience. Now, programs like Khan Academy are being used to allow each student to learn independently and focus on their own interests. The only issue is cost. Now, personally, I agree with this course of action. Schools should implement programs to allow each student to reach their full potential on their own. However, some common ground needs to be covered to make sure that everybody has a basic education.
Wow, that's fantastic. And you, Sammy?
I think sub-Saharan African countries should increase female enrollment in order to eliminate gender inequality, and educating teachers should be a main goal. Furthermore, sub-Saharan African governments should make education free in order to allow everyone to lead a productive life. It's really simple, actually.
Good. How about you, Jim?
Well, from what people might expect from me, I think they should make schools in East Asia a bit less challenging. I mean, sure, the results are amazing, but the negative effects are too much. They should take the Taiwanese approach. Like, the education there is more free for the students and allows students to express what they want, and is a lot better for the whole world.
As we can see, education varies greatly around the world due to economic and cultural differences. But as globalization continues, A quality education for everybody is more important because the people in schools today are going to control what happens in the future. Sammy, hey, be quiet.
That wasn't good.
Okay.